Just really quickly before the video starts, I was just editing this in post and two of the videos from my phone imported and squished weirdly, and I could not figure out how to get that better on the software. So if that happens for next video, I'll probably be looking for an alternative of video editing format. So gonna have to deal with it today because I'm not re-recording those parts. All right, here we go. All right, so it's been a while since our last update, and had a lot of practice time in between there, and then also had some lessons canceled. Not a lot of time to record videos and updates. But recently, this weekend, one of the events I was at really reminded me why I want to learn accordion, why I want to get better. And so I was at a Polish American club celebrating Polish Constitution Day. And so there the children's had a performance. It was a cultural performance where they had dancing and singing and poems. And afterwards, as everyone was congregating, drinking, having snacks, a man pulled out an accordion and started playing, and slowly people started to gather around, gather around. Some people were dancing, others were singing, and it really reminded me that this is an instrument that can bring people together and have so much fun in various different ways. Whether you're a person singing, dancing, or just watching the fun that happens, it really draws the center of attention to a community around you. And so I just wanted to start it off with a short video that I took over the weekend, and remind myself of some of the goals I might have. Very fun, great event. All right, in other news, we have finally finished Palmer Hughes Book 1, The Blue Book. This put total learning together at 8 keys on the keyboard or the right hand, and then I think it was 12 buttons on the left hand, so roots and chords on that side, only doing major chords at this point. And in reflecting of what I've learned and gotten better at, of course, I started knowing nothing, so it's quite fantastic to be at this level. I realized that on reflection, reading bass notes for me and the bass clef is still slow, and I definitely have a bad habit of reading only the roots and assuming that the major chords are going to follow on the same note as the root. Also, get easier moving around the keys the more and more you practice. Some of the jumps that happened, again, for the first half, probably a little more than half of the book, it was only 5 notes, so your fingers were staying really static, and then they started to move and add extra notes to that. So now that we're up to 8 keys, that's a full chord in the C scale. And so it's really just a practice thing. The more and more you move, the easier you find those jumps. I've answered a little question on myself that I had in previous videos, which is, how do I read music? Is it the spacing between the notes? Is it, the feeling, hearing the sound? And the answer is, I think I found out, is just practice, and it eventually comes to you. You'll learn what the jumps are there. We'll see as that goes forward, as we have accidentals, but yeah, I think it's just a practice thing. And so it was funny during the last lesson. So we finally added the first chord jump. So there's a chord jump from C to C. And I felt like I needed to tell my teacher after I played, I feel bad because I still have to look down at the keys to be able to make that jump from C to C. And she turns and she goes, "Why would you feel bad about that? It's right there. You're allowed to do that. There's absolutely no issue in looking down." And she said, "I don't know why. It's one way or the other with piano and accordion players. Some people just look straight at their music and they never want to look at their hands. And other people just want to look at their hands and don't look at the music." She said, "I get really confused at the people that just look at their hands because I don't know where the music is for them. So it's better that you're reading the music. But it's not a problem to look down at your hands occasionally, especially to get finger positionings and jump to that spot for the next part of the song." She said, "Of course, you don't want to rely on only looking at your hands, or else you can't see that music. But when you're learning to start making these jumps, again, in this case, it was C to C, then that's a fine thing, especially when learning." She said, eventually, you're going to get used to the distance between certain notes that you have to go, but how are you going to learn that if you don't look at it before? And so this Palmer Hughes book ended with a song called Vegtables on Parade. I am more familiar of that song as She's Too Fat for Me. So let's take a listen. And then going forward, we are going to be moving on to Palmer Hughes book 2. It's like a pink or red book. I don't know, what color I would call this, but I've been told that this book's going to go a lot slower than the other ones, so I'm mentally prepared for that. And just even going through the pages, it does look like there's a lot more complex things that we're starting to do. I think this book was made for adult learners, where the first book was made for children learners. So we'll see how that goes. I did start on the first song of the book because there was absolutely nothing new to it. And that song is called Drink to Me Only with Thine Eyes. And so I took a quick recording of this. Didn't have much time to practice it, but this is how we're starting off the next book.